Welcome everyone to Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news from Twitter, the daily fail, meme review, software releases, hardware releases, websites by plebes or plebs. Drop us a like, subscribe. All right, back in the normal studio. Let's go to the numbers.
Number time!
At the time of this recording, the block height is 699,382. The Bitcoin price 52,340. Chain rewrite days 879. Total public Lightning capacity 2,362.60. Sats per dollar 1,911. And the blocks to the halvening 140,618. Look at that, huh? 52K. That's okay.
Overall, good. It's a
you know that every single number rhymes with okay because they all end with K? So it doesn't matter whether we say 52K, 55K, it's all okay.
It's all okay. But it's not okay. 52K.
Not okay.
It was nice the first time around. It's not so nice the second time around.
Like we said yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so boring. You're like, all right, let's go. But where are we going to next? So what do you think? Do we speculate? Do we pretend like we're oracles?
Well, my oracles, my TA, when I say TA, I really mean testicular analysis, tells me, and I'm stealing that from Pirate, by the way, tells me that number go up. Boom. What about you? What do you think?
I see a line going from the bottom left to the upper right.
Bro. See that? That is simply Bitcoin TA. Yeah, exactly.
Bullish.
No, but all seriousness, dude, things are looking good. And if we stay the same pattern that we've been doing, right, and we keep following the halving cycles, it looks like we'll blow off top either at the beginning of next year or the end of this year. That's what it looks like to me, but we'll see. Who knows?
I'm very curious to see what happens tomorrow. I know there was a nice big campaign by the meme pool guys, right?
Yeah.
What's it called? In honor of what's going on in El Salvador, to buy the $30 worth of Bitcoin. I know that's been going around Bitcoin Twitter. Definitely going to partake in that. So I'm also curious to see, when that happens, which we shouldn't be that far away.
Absolutely. So you hear that, guys. In honor of what's going on tomorrow, which is Bitcoin is becoming legal tender in El Salvador. And by doing so, right, the Chivo app is going to give $30 of Bitcoin to every single citizen of El Salvador, right? In honor of that, right, there's people all around the world, in Brazil and the States, right? They're all buying $30 worth of Bitcoin. Phil and I are doing so. You should do. We should all stand together, defeat the goddamn central banks. But anyways, Phil, it's time for it.
The daily fail. All right, guys, we got two fails today, two completely unrelated fails. All right, let's dive into it. This was actually shared by one of our viewers, and hold on a second. Yeah, so this was actually Marco Ferreira that suggested this, and man, this is a good fail. So let's dive right in. It's actually pretty funny and ironic. DeFi insurance protocol Cover. So the name of it is Cover. Okay, shuts down. Token value plummets. That's a shock. Anyways, DeFi insurance protocol Cover has thrown in the towel after developer quits the struggling project. It is with conflicted emotions that I announce the end of Ruler and Cover protocol, said DeFi Ted today. Cover's token has fallen $45 since Ted's announcement, from $269 to $264. Daily trading volume soared from 3.5 million to 19 million, right? As we could imagine, as people dump their bags. Anyways, launched about a year ago, Cover created a decentralized market for investors in decentralized finance protocols. It all sounds very centralized, though, doesn't it? This guy walks away and the whole thing just disappears. So that's...
DeFi is CeFi. Yeah, that's the first thing that I was like, hey, wait, this guy walks away and it all collapses.
Okay, so apparently not decentralized finance. Let's proceed. So Cover created a decentralized market for investors in decentralized finance protocols. By locking up tokens on Cover as collateral, users received tokens that would cover them in case a DeFi protocol they invested in was hacked, rug pulled, or exploited. But what was saving Cover? Anyways, the value of these tokens depended on the risk of the smart contract. Cover's collapse follows an infinite minting hack in December 2020 that left its customers markedly uncovered by its insurance policies, and the investors in the cover token high and dry. This is the best part of this, though. The hacker returned the 4,350 ETH they stole, attaching to the transaction the message, "Next time, take care of your own shit." Hey. Don't get me wrong, but that's supposed to be a token that you get that insures you against rug pulls, but what insures it against its own rug pulls? That was just awful. I mean, anyways.
Bro,
thoughts on this one before we move to the next one?
Yeah, look, there's another example of DeFi really being CeFi. It should be called CeFi at this point, you know? I don't know how many examples we have to continue showing of just like these people saying it's a decentralized protocol, and either the developers step away, which was the case this time, or it just gets rug pulled altogether. But the hacker was nice enough this time to return the shitcoins that he stole. So there's that. Anyways, what do you think, Phil?
You know what? As you were explaining that, it just made me also realize he shut down the project. How is that a decentralized protocol in any way, shape, or form? A single person, a single point of failure, just shut down the project.
Yep.
Anyways, all right, let's move on. We're gonna move on from garbage. To me, that's like a rug pull. I don't see how that's not a rug pull. Rug pull by the dev. But we're going to move on to, we were talking about the numbers before, right? And we were joking around about the charts, but there's a lot of people that get wrecked following a lot of fools. And there's some people with some really big accounts that give terrible advice. And they think that people don't pay attention, but they do. We're going to dive into it. Here we go. It was Crypto Bull Trader's tweet, but he's tweeting this specific account, okay? So some of you guys may follow Mr. Whale. I follow him really just to troll him. He hasn't blocked me yet for some reason. Apparently I'm not enough of a jackass. But that's okay, I'm working on it. Anyways, here we go. Pay attention to the dates. Pay attention to what's being said. Very important. I love Mondays. I've been actively telling my followers to short the market and go against the general sentiment. CME gap at 3.5K, folks. Don't forget. That's 2020. Let's move on. Okay, so September 2020, just... Here we go. We were at 3.6K a few months prior. Buying at 10K is a stupid decision. Hence why I told people to short a dozen times. Again, pay attention to the date. May. All right? Let's continue. Nah, I've never once told people to short Bitcoin ever. I've made some scalps on the way up, but to say I told others to short is just not true. Well, look at that. Well, now we're in February 21. When did I tell people to short at 10K? You actually told them last year, according to your own tweets. You moon boys look so desperate when you call anyone a scammer who doesn't beg people to buy at the peak. Anyways, there you go, guys. It's the receipts. I mean, if you're going to sit there and scam, at least delete your tweets. Let everyone know you're a scammer so that you don't even have a chance to scam because they'll see you just delete all your tweets. Anyways, it's hilarious. Not that every person who deletes all their tweets is a scammer. It's not what I'm saying, but I'm just saying, like, if you're going to make terrible calls like that and then come back and say you never made those calls, at least delete those freaking tweets. Give yourself a chance. Anyways, that's awful. And this is why we don't listen to those people. This is why I take all of that, like I know people love Plan B and all of that, and everyone loves all the charts. It makes us all happy. It makes us all feel good. But at the end of the day, nobody really actually knows what's happening. It's a completely brand new asset type, as we've said many times. And although following these people makes us feel good, it's a crutch, okay? And like, you know what? I think Aoi would say it this way. It's a hopium crutch.
Yep.
Okay, like that's what it is.
Absolutely, man. I think you hit the nail on the head. All those guys, especially Plan B, it's like hopium directly into your brain, into your veins, directly shot up. But yeah, in terms of Crypto Whale, I don't follow him. I think he's a piece of shit. You just confirmed that he's a piece of shit. And dude, look, it just goes to show, like, everyone's a scammer. You know, never trust anyone on the internet. And the internet never forgets, boys and girls, right? And that's just a good example of that. But yeah, man, look, how do you protect yourself against this? Just DCA, buy a little bit of corn every single day, you know, continuously, have a long time preference, and really think in 4-year terms. Why 4 years? Because every 4 years there's a halving, and historically speaking, the price tends to go up the year after the halving, right? So really, ideally, you want to hold your Bitcoin for at least 4 years, better 8 years, ideally for the rest of your life, right? Those are the time frames you should be looking at. If you're buying it from like a year, you're trying to buy it and then sell it a year later, that doesn't work out for you because no one has any idea, I don't care how smart they are, where the price is going to go up. Like, people have an idea based on their own testicular analysis, but really, everyone's freaking clueless. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily Meme Review, sponsored by
Citadel 21. All right, everybody, the meme for today. Well, listen. We got so much shit for this picture yesterday. We wanted to make fun of ourselves, okay? So me and Phil, you know, we're like, oh, we're filming an episode together. Why don't we take a picture together? We went, like, all happy. And then, of course, you know, a bunch of Bitcoiners beat the living shit out of us. Let's check it out. By the way, I want to point out, we got 151 likes, but apparently some people still hate it. Let's check out Yellow's from his famous Cardano video. Amazing. Thank you, Yellow. I appreciate the support. We got this one from Jose Hodl. Amazing. Let's keep going. We got Andans.
This is sick, by the way.
Pixar Animation Studio. I just want to point out, dude, I love what you did with my beard. You made it look really cool. And Phil, man, that's awesome. Very cool stuff. Okay, anyways, let's keep going. This is awesome. Whoever made this. Okay, so Ugmug 4. Shout out. Let's check it out. The Virgin Shitcoin podcaster, 5-minute segment for shitcoin sponsors' favorite coin. Boomer Coin, 1 hour long rambling about shitcoins. Midway sponsor wants you to buy NFTs. Thinks Vitalik is a genius. Attempts fair ratings. Has to update 9 platforms for every episode. The Chad, Simply Bitcoin. Thanks, bro. See, this was a positive one. We appreciate that.
This was amazing.
Brief Bitcoin only sponsors. Bitcoin only, short enough to watch on a lunch break. Awesome pleb guest. Right click, save as. Everything but Bitcoin is a scam. Meme reviews scores intentionally make no sense. Only uploads to YouTube. Man, absolutely
totally
love
gets
it.
Us though, right?
Yeah, nail on the head, dude. I like, we do things that, like, we're like, you know, hopefully people notice us. This guy noticed everything. Awesome, man. Cool.
Awesome.
Cool. So that was this, and then we got Micro Chad with the flamethrower. I forgot to like all these, and then going and eat some more popcorn. Nick Can't Mine, totally missed that one, and we got this one. This was
here we go.
Funny. Okay, Bitmeister. This was hilarious. Okay, bro. Shout out to you. This was funny. We got nice, awesome, dude. Let's see, show more replies. Soy face. Oh, we got a soy face. So this was pretty much
we got a few soy faces.
We got a pretty much. Okay, so listen. Yeah. We agree with you guys, okay? Yes. Listen, we were excited, so we genuinely wanted to open our mouths like soy boys, okay? That's what happened. We're sorry, but at the same time, we're not sorry. And for that, Phil, I'm going to give it this really special score, which I've been saving for a while. My iPad. And
oh my God.
Yeah, what about you?
Well, I definitely can't beat you now, okay? But I'm going to try. Okay, so look, I totally loved it, and yeah, I mean, we were having fun. It was great, and we totally appreciate... You know what? We appreciate the love. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
And for that, I am giving that whole segment of memes, especially that Chad one. I love it. I love that meme. I am going with the seed signer case that I got from the seed signer guy. He sent it to me.
You got it already? Okay, wait.
I got it. Hold on.
I have to give the backstory to this, okay?
Hold on, I got it, and this is my Raspberry Pi Zero, okay? I'm waiting for the screen. I am hopefully going to get to build this thing in the next couple of weeks. I'm super excited. So shout out to you, Seed Signer dude. I'm so excited to build this thing.
So it was funny because when we invited him on the show, you know, like as a nicety, he was like, by the way, guys, you know, if you want me to send you something, let me know. Phil with, usually I say, no, bro, it's okay, you know, just be nice. Phil with absolutely no shame was like, yeah, send it to me. I would love it. You know, so it was absolutely hilarious. But dude, that's so cool that you got it so fast. And I knew that you were going to build it, which is why I asked you, when are you going to build this? And you built it within 30. You built it a lot faster than I thought you would. So that's cool. Anyways, guys, do you agree with our scores? Do you disagree? Let us know down in the comments. And of course, join our Telegram group. Give us memes to review because it's a meme review and we need memes to review. Anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily News, sponsored by Crypto Cloaks.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a historic moment. The world will never be the same. This is the president of a nation state basically saying that the country has bought Bitcoin. Check out Nayib Bukele, president of El Salvador. El Salvador has just bought its first 200 coins. Our brokers will be buying a lot more as the deadline approaches. That is the shot heard around the world. Central bankers are currently shitting their pants. This is essentially, one of the countries that was so effed up by the legacy financial system. It's obviously, looking for a better solution. That better solution is Bitcoin, right? They're taking that and they're going to be one of the first countries to benefit from number go up technology. And I just want to point out, Phil, right, that the US dollar is about to go head to head with Bitcoin tomorrow, September 7th. And dude, or you guys are going to see this the day of September 7th. So the day that you guys see this episode, the US dollar is now directly competing against Bitcoin. Now, here's the thing. The dollar is designed to lose value over time, and Bitcoin is designed to essentially gain value over time because of NGU technology, because of absolute scarcity, because of the fact there's just only 21 million, only ever be 21 million. It can't be debased, right? So think about it, bro. If one is designed to lose value over time and one is designed to increase in value over time, what Bitcoin is going to do, becoming legal tender of El Salvador, is it's going to highlight, right, the deficiencies and the scam that is fiat currency, right? So this is the beginning of the end. We've been saying since we started this show, it was like July 2020, I think it was around that date. But essentially we've been saying, right, we've been saying this message is that we thought this day would come in the next halving. We had no idea it was going to come so quickly, so fast, right? On the same year, we have public companies, right, adding Bitcoin to their treasury. And now you have a nation state, El Salvador, also adding Bitcoin to their treasury. It's just a matter of time before Bitcoin's game theory plays out, and you have more countries, specifically the ones that least benefit from the legacy financial system, to follow El Salvador. And I suspect, Phil, maybe you could elaborate, or maybe you could give me your opinion on this, is that, dude, I think the reason that Nayib Bukele was so open for this, and because he wanted to do it, is because he's a very young president. He's only 40 years old. So he sees this and he's like, I understand that, versus most of the politicians that are in power, Joe Biden, they're boomers, they're really old people, that might have something to do with it. Anyways, what do you think?
Okay, so first of all, even before we dive into that question, right, about him being young and everything, I just want to say I think that this is going to be bigger than the Renaissance. Like, you know what I mean? Like, think of the quality of money that we had back then, right? And Bitcoin is such a higher quality of money. So I think, again, we're completely underestimating really what's going to happen. The same way that we underestimated the internet, the same way that we underestimated everything, right? I'm sure we underestimated electricity too, So it's just going to be crazy. But I totally agree with you about him being... Look, I mean, for me, the second I did a Bitcoin transaction, it clicked. I was completely amazed. I'm like, that's it. I'm like, we don't need any of this anymore. I'm like, this works. And I'm sure that when he did that, he had the same thing. The same thing as all of us, right? Every single one of us is here, stacking sats and talking about Bitcoin and reading about Bitcoin because we all had that experience, right? We all had that experience where we did this transaction and we were like, oh my God, this changes everything for everyone. As simple as it is, as simple as it seems, right? The same way that when the freaking first light bulb turned on, there was such a simple thing. It was just a light in a glass tube, and look. So anyways, I'm super bullish. I'd love to give predictions and stuff like that. Okay. I want to go back actually to one thing that you said. I also didn't think this would happen so quick. I really and not that my timelines make sense anyways, but I was kind of thinking maybe another 10 years out or something. But again, we're not really understanding how quickly everything is moving. So it's
I think that human beings are not used to dealing with something that has absolute scarcity, and we still don't know the ramifications of that.
We've never
right?
had it.
We've never had something
Even with
like
gold.
that. Yeah.
Even with gold, right? What is gold's scarcity, right? Its scarcity proposition is that only a certain amount is mined every year. It's actually completely unknown how much gold is in the earth. And also, if we're going to put on the, if we're going to put on like the, I don't know if it's tinfoil hat, but the reality is that the entire universe is made up of all the same dust and the same material. So realistically, there's gold all over the universe. Not that we're mining that gold, but I'm just saying it's not as scarce as we think.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right. There could be asteroids, floating around in the solar system. They could be full of gold, right? And I think there's articles written of that, in fact. So yeah, man. And with Bitcoin, on the other hand, right, we absolutely know how much Bitcoin there will ever be, right? And it's estimated that around 3 or 4 million are completely lost, right? So it's less than that 21 million number, right? Bullish. But anyways, so as the countries that least benefited from the legacy financial system, as they empower themselves through Bitcoin, the powers that be actually have a lot to lose, right? And when I'm talking about the powers that be, I'm talking about the legacy central banks, right? The Fed, the European Central Bank, that are used to having so much ungodly power because of that damn money printer and because so many other countries use their currency. So as Bitcoin continues to rise, we've been telling you, right, that the rhetoric from the mainstream fiat propaganda arm was going to intensify, and essentially the powers that be are going to use the regulators, which are really, they've been using those regulators to essentially destroy the competition for I don't know how many years now. They're going to use those regulators to try to go after Bitcoin. We've been reading you the articles from Steve Hanke, how it's basically talking about the Financial Action Task Force and how El Salvador would destroy the economy and all these bad things. Well, again, another Simply Bitcoin We Told You So moment. Check out this article by the New York Times. It's literally a whole page, right? Bitcoin and shitcoin's rapid move into banking elicits alarm in Washington, right? So I just want to break down the article for a second, right? It's a better technology. So what happens to better technologies? They disrupt and they destroy the old system. The problem here, though, is that the old system has been entrenched for 400 years. They're not used to losing that. So what they're trying to do is they're not trying to play fair, right? They're going to, go to those politicians in DC, right, in the swamp, and say, hey, this has to stop. Anyways, the article goes on to say the boom in companies offering, and this is, by the way, what you were saying earlier, Phil, when we were talking about how CeFi is really DeFi. We've been telling you guys that the lowest hanging fruit, meaning anything that's not truly decentralized, meaning anything that's not Bitcoin, right? Politicians and governments are going to be able to shut it down. They're going to be able to regulate it, and they're going to be able to mold it into something that the traditional system is today, right? The breakthrough is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the only cryptocurrency that really that has the capability of separating the money from state. Everything else, all the DeFi projects, all the shitcoins, they don't have enough decentralization in order to do so. Anyways, the boom in companies offering Bitcoin and shitcoin loans and high yield deposit accounts is disrupting the banking industry, leaving this is the funny part, right? It's because it's disrupting the banking industry. The regulators have to come up and stop it. Can't have too much freedom. Can't have that. Anyways, article goes on to say, but to state and federal regulators, some members of Congress, the entry of Bitcoin and shitcoin into banking is a cause for alarm, right? You can't have people have their freedom. The technology is disrupting the world of financial services so quickly and unpredictably that regulators are far behind, potentially leaving consumers and financial markets vulnerable. The last part makes me laugh. What happened in 2008? What happened in 2008? You guys didn't give two flying fucks about the consumer. You guys cared about Wall Street. That's what you cared about. But now that the consumer has an advantage over Wall Street, all of a sudden, oh my God, for the safety of the public, we need regulators to step in here. What's going on? Fucking bullshit. Phil?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so look. All I picture is this, right? The central bankers, they call up their swamp things in Washington, and they go, and imagine they told them the truth, and they said, listen, we're trying to buy everything out for pennies on the dollar from you. You got to stop what's happening with Bitcoin, okay? We were in the middle of enslaving the whole world, and now this just got ruined. So you better fix this. But hey, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna give you more money. Think about it. Really. Well, what are they doing, these people? These people are crazy. Okay? They've got absolutely nothing. I personally, look, I don't give a shit about DeFi. I don't care about any of this other stuff, okay? But at the end of the day, it's like you said, the low-hanging fruit. They're going to go for all these things. So everything that isn't truly decentralized will end up getting dinged. They are all going to get nailed. And the only thing left standing will be the real thing. And it's going to be tough for some people to accept. It's going to be really tough for them.
Remember, guys, that as Bitcoin gains more popularity, right, as the market cap grows, remember, Bitcoin is eating away at the state, at the government, right? Because the reason that governments have so much power, the reason that they're able to lock people against their will is because we're using their money. And because we're using their money, right, guess what they could do? They could just freeze that money, right? But they're not even trying to hide it at this point, right? Check out the article goes on to say, there's a quote by Gary Gensler, which we've been covering a lot on the show. We need additional authorities to prevent transactions. See, Freudian slip right there. To prevent transactions. Remember, this guy was like, Bitcoin's this, Bitcoin's that. But he's essentially revealing his cards. He's like, we can't have Bitcoin. We can't have people transacting with each other back and forth. Listen, if Bitcoin wasn't decentralized enough, guys, right, the government would have already killed it by now, right? The fact that it hasn't been killed, it shows you Bitcoin's anti-fragileness, right? It literally can't be killed, right? They've been wanting to kill it. This is a direct attack on governments. That's what Bitcoin is. It takes their power away and it gives it to individuals, right? In the process, freeing mankind, right? So we need additional authorities to prevent transactions, products, and platforms from falling between regulatory cracks. Gary Gensler, right? We've already pointed out, right? We've covered in the Financial Action Task Force regulation, right? We've pointed out that all these regulations really don't hurt criminals, right? They don't hurt terrorism organizations, right? We just left $80 billion in Afghanistan. They don't really give a shit about that, apparently, right? That's okay, right? So it's not really about stopping crime, right? We've already pointed out it's never been about that. It's about population control, right? That's what it's about. And the reason that they want that, right, is because they essentially grow that bureaucracy by extracting more and more wealth away from their citizens, right? That's how it works. That's how modern governments work, right? You could have made the argument that before Bitcoin, that was a necessary evil because that was the only way to do things. But after Bitcoin, right, governments don't need to be so big anymore. They no longer have to be in charge of the money, right? So while they come to terms with this, right, while the present catches up, to them, right, they're really going to react violently, right? And this is just the beginning, right? This is just what happened in El Salvador, what's happening in El Salvador today, September 7th, when you guys see this episode, is going to shock governments around the world, right? And I expect a hell of a fight. Phil?
Gary Gensler. That's all I got to say. I mean, look, they can sit there and pretend like, so look, I think that right now what we're seeing, right, it's a giant psyop, right? They're trying to make everybody believe that something is real, that it isn't. They're trying to make people believe, and again, this goes back to stuff that they've done in the past, right? That we've seen governments do in the past. They always want you to think that there's predictability and control, because predictability and control means that, look, we have everything, we've got everything under control, and that's just not the case. They don't understand. They don't actually understand, I think, what the implications of Bitcoin are, okay? And I think that, unfortunately for them, this is what we've said in the past, they are going to find themselves, just like they are right now, playing catch-up, right? And this is exactly what we're seeing. So what else can they do but lie? So they lie, they make up stories. I forget how that quote goes, but like the biggest trick, the greatest trick that the devil ever pulled was to make everybody believe that he didn't exist. But it's kind of the same type of thing, right? It's an illusion. They want you to think that something is wrong with Bitcoin, that something is wrong with money that isn't centrally controlled. But the thing is that it's everything that's right. It's everything that's needed.
But don't take our words from it. We're just some two lowly plebs, some simple plebs, right? Don't take our word for it, okay? Let's check out what Caitlin Long has to say, just to give you guys a refresher. Caitlin Long is with Kraken, and they're essentially trying to start a Bitcoin bank. Actually, they're not trying to start. They are starting a Bitcoin bank in Wyoming, right? That was part of the Wyoming Bitcoin Bank charter, right? And her bank was called Avanti BT. But let's see how fair these banks are playing. Let's see if they're playing both sides. Here in the article, okay, she goes on to say, unironically, the bank industry's lobbyists keep saying Bitcoin and shitcoin needs to be subject to higher standards than traditional banks. But their own banks are now getting into Bitcoin and shitcoins too. And so it's really funny to watch the bank lobbyists tie themselves in a knot. And even funnier, my pals at various banks keep calling to ask for my help with Bitcoin and shitcoins, while at the very same time, their own lobbyists are attacking us with falsehoods and trying to slow down regulatory process. Hypocrisy much. Okay, so let me break down those two tweets, right? First of all, it shows you that the banking industry, right, is lobbying hard against the Bitcoin industry. But at the same time, right, you have JP Morgan, you have Wells Fargo offering Bitcoin to their clients. Why? Because of the goddamn incentives. The incentives are too strong. So again, these banks could resist all they want. They could say, we don't want this stuff. We don't want Bitcoin and shitcoins. We don't want to allow this to our clients. But they can't help, because they're public companies, to sell Bitcoin to their clients, right? They can't. They have to play both sides. But it exposes the hypocrisy. And I'm telling you that governments are going to find themselves in the same position. Remember, it's always easier to just adopt Bitcoin and tax it rather than try to fight it. And the governments that try to fight it are going to have fun staying poor, while their citizens are going to be wealthy, because as we've shown you many times, Bitcoin banks don't work. You're just pushing everything underground, right? The Wall Street Journal, we've showed you an article. They agree with us too. Many people in national security, maybe many people in the three-letter agencies agree as well, right? If you try to ban Bitcoin, you push it underground. If you adopt it, right, you allow the citizens of that country to flourish, right? So again, the banking industry finds itself in the same position, right? They want to retain that legacy power, right, that they've built for themselves, but at the same time, they can't resist, the honey badger as well. They want to sell people Bitcoin. They want to make a fee, so it's absolutely hilarious that they're playing both sides, and governments are going to start playing both sides as well too. Phil?
The new boss, just like the old boss. Okay, so what I mean to say is that these, I think, okay, they completely understand the writing's on the wall, okay, but what they can't let go of is that they need to be the first ones to the table, right? They need to ensure their real estate. They need to they need to set themselves up first. So I actually think that it's even a little more nefarious. I think it's a total scam, and I think that they're doing it on purpose to scare the majority, because they understand that the majority of people, right, are going to think like, well, I'll leave this up to the experts and wait till they say it's okay for me to jump in. And let's be honest, right? When are they going to say it's okay to jump in? They're going to say it's okay to jump in once they've got all of their real estate set up for you to come over and start, kind of paying their tolls as you walk through the minefield that they've built, So I think it's just, I think it's a total load of crap. I really do. So I think that's why, because think about it. She even just said it, right? They've got lobbyists sitting there, spreading falsehoods every single day. All we do is debunk one garbage article after another from the mainstream media, and at the same time, they're calling her for, from the back room going, look, you got to help us with this. Look, I'm telling you, they're just doing it to keep the majority of people away. Because look, don't you think the bank wants to be the one to sell you some type of a Bitcoin service that you don't need?
Of course.
Don't you think that's exactly what they want? Why would they want you to go? Look, banking has totally removed personal responsibility from our financial lives, right? We're not responsible. Like we just aren't, right? Everything is offset to a third party. So of course they want to they want to continue the gravy train. And who's to blame them, right? But the thing is that, hey, you can continue the gravy train if you want, but you're going to have to provide value in this ecosystem.
Dude, absolutely. And look, and I want to compare it to an analogy, Phil, to just add on top of what you said, right? So back in the 90s, a lot of the telecommunication companies, right, they were against the internet. And the reason they were against the internet is because all their long distance markets were completely just demolished overnight, right? All of a sudden you can call someone through the internet, and essentially the telecommunication companies that flourished became internet service providers, right? They adapted. They used the infrastructure that they had for the telecommunications industry, and they made it an internet infrastructure, and they evolved, right? But their long distance market, they had to come to terms that was gone. Banks are going to have to come to terms that the industry that they're used to essentially operating in, charging people overdraft fees and just fees to just have their money. In Europe, you have negative interest rates. That industry is not going to survive Bitcoin. Why? Because why the hell would you park your value in fiat for it just to lose value over time if you have another option of parking your money in Bitcoin, not only having custody of your money, right? Not having to rely on another bank, but it not only not losing value over time, it actually increases in value over time, right? Bitcoin just provides better incentives. And the faster that commercial banks come to terms with this, the better that they could adapt their businesses to take advantage of Bitcoin rather than try to fight it. And central banks, on the other hand, they're fucked. They're dead. They're gone, right? They're a relic of the past. They will not survive Bitcoin, period. Let's see how fast that happens. But anyways, Phil, there was a software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. All right, looks like Blue Wallet is just on fire, right? I feel like we reported software releases from them last week as well. Anyways, Blue Wallet, right? It's a Lightning and Bitcoin wallet, and you can use it to connect to your own Electrum node. Anyways, version 6.2.4 was released, and that is down below in the show notes. Check it out.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. Remember, guys, it's not a red wallet. It's not a yellow wallet. It's a blue wallet.
Forgot.
Anyways, guys, that was our show. Before we go, I want to give a shout out to our awesome sponsors, Crypto Cloaks. Definitely check out CryptoCloaks.com. Get 5% off with the link below. Get yourself a Bitcoin 3D printed Bitcoin grenade that goes boom. It's really cool. And you can get a big one too. Now they have really big ones. Shout out, Rick. And of course, check out Citadel 21 for the pleb signal. It's the cultural Bitcoin magazine. You find some awesome stories by plebs for plebs. Check out citadel21.com. Guys, that was our show. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smack that like button. And of course, if you want to continue hearing the catastrophic fails from the fiat government, the central bankers, the shitcoiners, the CeFi, that's not really DeFi, it's CeFi, and the Bitcoin news from the Plip Plip and Ploo perspective, definitely consider subscribing, and we'll see you tomorrow, guys, for another episode of Simply Bitcoin.
The banks want to sell us Bitcoin.